meet you. My name's Adrian.
Nice to meet you.
I'm a trainer for Australia-wide training, and you've been at the cafe for a while now?
Yeah, well, I mean, I just started working here, but I've been a barista for like 15 years. It's my passion, basically.
Fantastic. So hopefully, I know your boss has asked us to run through practicing safe working practices. Now, we've got some learning objectives that we will hope you will have at the outcome of this. The number one is to follow your organisation's workplace health and safety and security procedures. Also, to use safe work practices in everything you do at work. And also to be able to take part in your organisation's health and safety management practices. So they're the outcomes we hope to get by the end of this. We're going to have an overview on hazards, PPE, workplace health and safety. So really work safely. So it's practicing safe work practices, STIXWH005. That's the name of the module we're doing. Now, first of all, what I like to do is do an acknowledgement of country to our traditional owners. I would like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we meet today, which I think the Gubbi Gubbi of this particular region, and pay my respects to their elders past and present, as well to emerging leaders. Now, let's start off. So, first of all, we've shown you the fire evacuations, the fire exits. You know where everything is, you know where the toilets are. Okay, so if there is a fire, we know where to congregate. We've worked out all those sort of things there. So have you got any questions, first of all? Are you familiar with what workplace health and safety is?
Well, yeah, to an extent, just don't spread bacteria that like...
It's exactly. So there's actually policies and procedures in place to protect workers. Not just workers, but clients. So you probably, we'll come across things with hazards and various things like that there. But what I'm going to do, I think a good way, are you right with, when there's not too much writing in this, it's...
is it like a screen reader?
Well, you won't need one. I can help you with anything we need there. So there's not a lot, we can use spell check, but I'm here to help you. But this is based more on a visual type of lesson, okay? So what we'll do, I'm going to start with this particular video, which I find quite informative, to give us an overview of workplace health and safety. I think it's quite nice to sit down in this thing because it's only the two of us.
Yeah.
Now, we've got volume. Sorry about these ads.
It's shocking how much of the equipment we've used for decades contains forever chemicals. This is the first innovation.
Now, here we are. I'm just going to get the remote control. Just give us a bit of volume there on.
You must ensure the health and safety of your workers, visitors, customers and volunteers by ensuring safe systems of work, providing adequate facilities and effective systems for monitoring the health of workers and workplace conditions. As a PCBU, you must ensure that you identify
As a
hazards
person
and
conducting
manage
the
the work
business.
health and safety risks
Cross
at
with that
the
as well in there.
workplace. A hazard is anything with the potential to cause harm. The risk is the likelihood and the consequence of the hazard affecting any person. Risk management should be an ongoing process. Everyone at the workplace should continually monitor for hazards and, if identified, take appropriate actions to minimise risks to health and safety. If there is more than one PCBU at a workplace, they must work together to ensure workplace risks are managed. All PCBUs must consult, cooperate and coordinate to develop a work health and safety management system to eliminate or minimise risks in the workplace. In many workplaces, this simply means that managers, supervisors, workers and contractors will all be involved in discussions about workplace activities, hazard identification and risk management. You need to regularly review your work health and safety management systems to make sure they are still effective in your workplace.
That's very important.
As a PCBU, you must consult with workers who carry out work for the business or undertaking and who are or are likely to be directly affected by a health and safety matter. This duty to consult is based on the recognition that worker input and participation improves decision-making about health and safety matters and assists in reducing work-related injuries and disease. Consultation arrangements should take into account the size of the business, the way work is arranged, and what suits your workers. Consideration should be given to whether work health and safety issues can be addressed through one of your regular communication channels, or if there is a need to do something different, like hold a one-off meeting. A safe and healthy workplace benefits everyone. For further information, visit our website or contact NT WorkSafe on 1800 019 115.
Well, that was quite informative. Do you have any questions about that, Robin? You've got an idea of what workplace health and safety is?
Let's say I do.
So really, I mean, your particular workplace, there would be policies and procedures. I know I've spoken with your manager. You have a workplace health and safety officer. And the main thing with workplace health and safety, so the whole idea of it is to keep people safe, to keep you safe. You work with, as you say, you're a barista, you work with hot water, you work with steam. You've obviously got protective equipment that you use, you wear gloves for certain jobs. You probably, I know you have people that make sandwiches and things in the cafe, they wear gloves, don't they? We'll come to that with PPE. No doubt you wear a lot of PPE and you probably don't even realise you're doing it. So, first of all, I mean, hazards is what hazards are what causes, well, the definition of a hazard is something that can possibly cause injury or harm to people or property. So hazards in hospitality, you've got, let me go through a few. You've got liquid spills on floors. You've got, I mean, if we look here, work safely, here we are. You've got liquid spills on floors. You've got lifting. Have you ever known anyone to actually put their back out or something when they're lifting something at work, they're not lifting correctly?
I've seen a few people happen to me. I was in hospital for like a day.
Really?
Yeah.
So and that's probably, you probably were not lifting properly according to the workplace health and safety procedures.
Yeah, how to know?
Actually, this is a good example here. We're just thinking about a risk and a hazard, okay? So Hayley was new on the job in the kitchen. She was told to use the meat slicing machine. She hadn't been trained how to use it, but she felt she couldn't say no. It started to go too fast for her, but she didn't know where the emergency cut-off switch was. The machine cut the tip off her finger as the machine guard was not attached. So look, the question is, how do you think this incident could have been prevented?
Well, from the sound, probably about attaching the machine guard.
Well, exactly. So if she was properly trained, so that's another thing in workplace health and safety, is training in the correct procedures, how to use things. So that's accidents, which that could be quite definitely life-changing. And it's just a matter of a quick training session, and the fact that she felt she couldn't say no. So in a workplace, you should be fully confident to say to your manager, look, I don't know how to use this machine, can I have further training? So that's one thing. It's like reporting what you might consider danger as well. Imagine if that was you, let's say with the barista machine, and you noticed that the actual steam nozzle was faulty. The best thing to do, instead of thinking, oh, I just put my cup here, it's best to report that straight away to avoid any further harm or anything. So working with knives is another hazard. Poor lighting can cause damage, you can't see what you're doing. Exposure to hazardous substances, faulty machinery, unsafe storage of stock or equipment. So these are all hazards that can cause harm, physical harm. You've got psychological hazards as well, which can be fatigue or stress or bullying in the workplace or violence. So really, what examples of hazard, let's have a look here using these little handouts. So examples of common hazards, look here, you've got manual tasks such as lifting. So if you don't lift properly, as you said, it's caused you a problem where you ended up in hospital. You've got gravity, reaching for things fall from a height. Noise can be an actual hazard, so permanent damage to your ears. You've got electricity. If electricity is near water or something like that, it can be a hazard and cause problems. Machinery, if not working properly, or you're not trained properly, or hazardous chemicals. And they've got hazard identification, that's another thing. So to identify hazards, sometimes we know of a hazard. Well, before we actually started these classes, I had to do what they call a risk assessment. I had to look at this place here and say, right, I'm happy there's no particular hazards. I know we had a little hole at the door. The cement had sort of caved in a bit, so I notified your manager and we had that repaired. So therefore it wasn't posing a risk to us. So what we would have had, let's say while it was being repaired, there would have been a sign up like this. You've seen these around? You know, at shopping centres sometimes you see.
Like Yeah, some potholes.
Potholes, yeah. Or you know, sometimes when they've just cleaned the floors in shopping centres, they
Yeah.
might have wet floor caution. So it's basically to warn people. I mean, this is a nice little exercise here. Hazard identification. This is a workplace here. It's quite an unusual workplace. But if you can have a look here, look at this gentleman here. He's lifting, but he hasn't taken notice of these here. That's a hazard. They're going to fall on him, cause damage, cause injury. Loose electrical wires. That's another one. If you look here, this gentleman here, he's lifting up a box, and there's a forklift coming down towards him. And what can you take a look at this one? What do you think's wrong? That looks like some sort of conveyor belt.
Just dragging the conveyor.
Exactly, that could cause an immeasurable damage. So she's actually not paying attention, she's on her phone. So that's a nice little exercise to actually look at certain hazards. Has this got you thinking about different aspects of your day-to-day job where hazards could occur? Or
Well, yeah, I've seen a few.
and you can see the most important thing is to be aware of hazards. Once you start thinking this could be a hazard, that could be a hazard, it'll make for a safer workplace. I mean, these are just some other signs too that you may see. Danger of tripping. That's generally the exclamation mark is something to get your attention. So there's actually something wrong with the place there. So what we might do is have a look at a video on hazards. How's that sound?
Good.
How are you going, Robin? Are you enjoying your understanding what we're going through here? I'm not going too quickly for you, am I?
Yeah, it's fine. Just,
It's quite interesting, isn't it?
yeah.
Now, excuse me one moment. I've got the volume up on that.
Activities poses a risk of personal injury to the body, but many people choose to participate in sport or exercise because of the benefits it has on them. So, what is a hazard and what is a risk?
This is
A
interesting,
hazard
Robin.
is anything that has the potential to cause harm to a person. If you think about hazards in your day-to-day life, the cars on a busy road that you need to cross are all hazards. Whereas a risk is the chance, whether it's high, medium, or low, that the hazard will cause harm. When crossing the road, the risk of the cars hitting you is based on how far away the cars are from you. To put this into a workplace perspective, a hazard is anything in the workplace
That looks like quite a dangerous
that
workplace.
might cause any person entering the workplace harm,
Look at this.
and a risk is the likelihood that it will.
Look, there's a panda actually. Someone's got a drone
We need to
inside.
manage these hazards and risks in a workplace because there are additional hazards and risks that come into play in a workplace that you wouldn't otherwise be exposed to if you weren't in the workplace. Every workplace in Australia is legally responsible
It's actually a
for
legal
maintaining a healthy
responsibility for
and
your
safe
workplace, any
environment,
workplace.
and to take measures to manage hazards and mitigate risks. There are 5 different categories of workplace hazards: physical, ergonomic, chemical, psychosocial, and biological. A physical hazard is anything in the environment that could cause harm to your physical body. This includes vibration, heights, noise, and confined spaces. Some examples of physical hazards include wires left laying on the floor,
That's a
faulty
common one.
electrical appliances, slippery or wet floors, falling objects from high shelves. Ergonomic hazards are those that are caused by poor
Yeah, it's a classic one.
workstations or job design.
Sometimes we're in such a rush to lift
They are
things or
often
to
caused by
get the job done.
repetitive tasks, such as computer use, manual handling tasks, or low lighting. Some examples of ergonomic hazards are poor workstation setup, poor lighting, repetitive lifting of boxes. Chemical hazards are caused by chemicals that might come in solid, liquid, or gas form and may be hazardous through direct contact or inhalation. Some examples include pest control substances, cleaning agents, oven cleaners, bleach.
Busy day at work.
A biological hazard is a hazard caused by an organic material. A common example is mold. A psychosocial hazard is the component of work that is likely to cause psychological harm to someone. Some examples of psychosocial hazards are work-related stress, bullying and harassment, and fatigue. Identifying hazards should be part of your everyday work tasks. It is everyone's responsibility to report hazards as they are identified in the workplace. There are, however, specific occasions when a workplace might undertake a formal hazard assessment,
Yes.
and this includes starting or expanding a business or opening a new location, changing work tasks, starting a new worker, working with new substances or new equipment.
That was quite interesting. Did you gain something from that there, Robin?
Not really. Just seemed like a recap of what you were saying. I would say that really a bit. It was quite confusing
Okay.
to an extent.
Right, so let's move on. So basically, examples of common hazards. You've got extreme temperatures, biological, which was covered in there, radiation, and psychological. So really, what we've looked at so far, the concept of workplace health and safety, hazards that cause damage, identifying hazards, assessing the risk, and there's a way we can protect ourselves. One way of protecting ourselves is using PPE, which means personal protective equipment. So really, I mean, we heard about the person conducting a business must put control measures in to protect workers' health and safety. This includes giving workers personal protective equipment, which is called PPE, if required to minimise a risk. Workers and other people in the workplace also have responsibilities for PPE. So it's the duty of your manager to provide the right PPE for your particular job, which would be gloves, it could be an apron, it could be a hairnet. But I've got a couple I can actually show you here. We can go through, we'll have a little. You may have seen some of these already. But what we'll do, we'll have a little, I'm going to show you this handout. Nice little. So let's go through this together. So you've got gloves. We'll actually look at the physical ones. You've got gloves here. Are you familiar with these respirator masks?
Yeah,
You've seen those?
I've seen people like spray paint with those.
Yeah, because of the noxious fumes, the toxic fumes. You've got eye protection there, and you've got glove protection. So let's have a look here. Now these are some other forms of PPE. You've got a helmet. These are generally, I mean, these are across the board. These could be for construction. You've seen a lot of, when you're walking past a building site, builders with these. Earplugs. Now that is, they're heavy duty earplugs, another respirator. You see those high-vis coats, they're protected against,
people.
You've got industrial gloves here. You've got visors. There's different sorts of visors. You've actually got shields. Have you seen the face shields that come down over your face?
That's why there's all the time of the pandemic.
Yeah, exactly, during COVID. Now that's a good example of PPE. So during COVID there was a lot of PPE being used so basically to stop the spread of germs, to stop sickness and illness. But I'd like to go through, what I'm going to show you here, just while I put this down, is we're going to try this on. This is a bit of fun. Now you probably wear these at work. Do you want to have a go at popping those on? I'll get mine, I'll be one moment. It's always important to make sure you put the gloves on and they don't tear.
I mean, I've got way fancier at work.
Sorry?
I've got way fancier at work.
Yeah.
Sign barista gloves. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. They're probably more protected,
yeah.
Because I suppose you're dealing with a lot of hot water and steam. So here we go, let's both compare our. So see, you can imagine if you tear that, if you've got long fingernails and you tear your glove, still sort of organisms or germs can get in there.
I mean, they give us beginning that briefing on the first day, no long nails.
Yeah, exactly. And sometimes jewellery, there's not too much excessive jewellery.
Would just go back
Exactly. That's the reason they have those sort of things in place. So there we go. So really our hands here are protected. So let's say we are dealing with rubbish, if you're taking the rubbish out. Once you've taken the rubbish off, there is a more detailed way of when we'll cross that donning and doffing PPE, which is putting on PPE correctly and taking it off. So that's that. Now, as I said before, there's different types of protective visors. These ones here are basically just for probably dust or even just steam or water, but you can have ones that actually wrap around your head. Try these on, Robin. Just give those a go. That's right. Yep. So how's that feel?
Feels safe.
Feel safe? You feel a lot safer? Now, this is the old classic. You've probably seen these. Do you remember during the COVID? So the classic mask, that's a standard sort of surgical mask, I think, actually. But some people still wear those in food preparation. Generally, I mean, if you're in aged care and there's an outbreak of flu or COVID, generally everyone, the workers and the residents, will wear that to protect against droplets of air.
I see the chefs wearing this all the time.
Chefs wear them, definitely.
Especially when dealing with fresh stuff.
Definitely. And also cross-contamination. Sometimes if they're chopping raw food, someone will only deal with the raw food, whereas someone else will deal with the cooked food. Now, this is an interesting little fella. I thought this was a hairnet when I first saw it. Oh! This is actually for your shoes.
Oh.
So you might have seen in crime shows when police walk into a place they put on a crime scene, put these on their shoes so as to not...
Yeah.
So it is a protective equipment. And if you were outside, you might put these on, take them off when you come back into the kitchen. So that's keeping your shoes clean from any sort of noxious substances. Last but not least is the old apron. Now I'm going to show you how to pop this on, and I'll get you to have a go. These come in different shapes and sizes as well.
I'm quite familiar.
You wear one just
Yeah,
like
I
this?
wear one all the time.
That's it. Shall we do that? Let's pop that on.
Symbol, you know?
Yeah. So that's, you can always get one of your colleagues to help you tie them back.
These ones are
That's right.
really
Hang on.
designed up.
There you are. Yeah, actually go that way. Yep. So there you are.
Well, let's
Arms in.
any sort of.
It's always a bit of fun, isn't it, doing the PPE?
Yep.
Now what we'll do, if you turn around there, just make sure we've got no tears, and then I'll give that a quick... We won't tie that up, just for demonstration purposes, and you're ready to go. And so when you're finished with that, that's disposable. They're one use only. Same with these, one use only. Gloves are one use only. Sometimes there's PPE that can be washed, but the main thing is the PPE, it's the employer's responsibility to make sure that the PPE is the right one for your particular job, and the PPE is in good condition. Please have a seat. So it's their responsibility to ensure that. It's the duty of the owner to select the suitable PPE for the worker and the task. Now also to be trained in it as well. You're not expected to, as we said before, there's different types of gloves for different tasks, and that's why when you're inducted into the workplace, you're told how to care for it, and it's your responsibility to actually care for the PPE. You must ensure that it fits properly too. So, I mean, if there's extra large gloves, there's small gloves, there's no point someone with large hands putting on small gloves. And basically you must use and wear it properly the way you're trained to use it. So really, I mean, PPE can include hard hats, earplugs, gloves, goggles, respirators, as we've covered. So really, PPE is actually one of the most least effective control measures. It must only be considered after applying high-level measures, such as the best way to eliminate a hazard is to remove the hazard. So if you're able to do that, if it's going to take time to remove the hazard, let's say you have to get someone in, it's best to sign the area. That's why you'll see these signs up here. Beware of, you'll see them on the road, beware of falling rocks, beware of this, beware of that. But I think we'll watch another little video on PPE, because I think we quite enjoy the videos. Okay, I've just got to find this. Excuse me. Have you got any questions, Robin?
Oh, not really.
Anything? Is there sort of some PPE? Have you been properly trained at work with your PPE?
For the most part, yeah. Aprons, gloves, as such. 15 years is quite a while.
Well, I suppose so, yeah. There's not much, sorry about this, we've just had a little technical fault. Now let's go on to history. Now this is basically, I've chosen this one because it's food, which we're dealing with, food and coffee.
Of 10. Mr. Handleby, Sidon.
Yeah, why's that from there? Okay, here we go. Now this is American, but the principles are the same.
Besides having good personal hygiene, employees must follow good manufacturing practices when handling foods.
One of the most important things you can do to prevent the spread of foodborne illness is to not touch ready-to-eat foods with your bare hands. Always use a utensil or gloved hands to handle these items. When preparing pizza, ingredients may be touched with bare hands before the pizza goes to the oven. However, after removing the pizza from the oven, utensils or gloved hands must be used. Don't forget, always wash your hands when changing tasks before you put on gloves. Wearing hair or beard nets, an apron, and gloves are important to reduce the risk of cross-contamination because it avoids the spreading of germs from workers into foods.
Well, there we go. Look.
These items may be worn while preparing food, but must be removed before entering the restroom. Gloves must always be changed after touching raw animal foods, garbage, walls, floor, cleaning supplies, or objects that are not clean. Food handlers must not wear artificial fingernails, bracelets, or rings with stones. Plain band wedding rings are able to be worn. Other unsecured jewelry must be removed because they might fall into foods. Employees must always wash hands after scratching their skin to avoid possible contamination of food or utensils. Cuts and abrasions on skin must always be properly cleaned and covered with a clean gauze, Band-Aid, or other type of bandage. And remember, never try to catch a knife when it is falling.
Actually, I remember a story about that, working in watchmaking. Very, very sharp tweezers. And it went flying there. Someone tried to catch it between their legs and stabbed them in the fleshy part of the thigh. So that's an interesting thing. So PPE differs. It differs in each industry. We're mainly concerned with. Let's get rid of that. Okay, and we go.
Being sick.
Sorry about this. We'll pause that now. So what we'll do, we'll have a bit of a recap here. So workplace health and safety is designed to keep workers safe, to keep everyone safe. And really, it's about examples of, that's gone up too far, so we've had a look at that. Have a look at that as well, just a slide. We've talked about different risks and hazards within the workplace, and the identifications of risks and hazards. That's the most important thing. So if everyone can work as a team and actually identify hazards or risks, and then always report to the supervisor. And the way you can do that is through regular staff meetings. You'll have workplace health and safety updates, and you can contribute to that. We'll come to that with a different module soon. But there's another one major thing too, is to be prepared for an emergency. Now that's a different module, but it is part of workplace health and safety. So the thing is, it's always good to know the importance of having an emergency plan. So hence, when you first came in this morning, remember we spoke about the evacuation plan. We always check with the exits you've got an exit here. When you've been on a plane, have you been on a plane before?
Not really.
Okay, but then when you're on a plane, they'll go, doors are here, doors are here, doors are here. So that's giving you an emergency preparation plan. So it's the steps to take when you're in emergency within your workplace policies and procedures, which that's a good thing to check. So when you go back to work, check with your manager, ask if you can have a look at the workplace policies and procedures. So they'll give you actually the plan. You'll know who the fire safety officer you'll have. So whenever there is an actual plan, there's a plan to get everyone out safe, to address who was there, and that would be that. Now, have you got any questions from? Not particularly that one. You think? I know you were concerned earlier about you didn't know who was the workplace health and safety officer at your work, but if you speak to Jada, the boss, that was great. So, I mean, overall, we've looked at hazards, we've looked at personal protective equipment, we've looked at preparation for emergencies. I mean, I think we'll just go through. I mean, there we are. We've looked at those. We've had a look here.
Actually, I do have one
Please.
question. Will I perhaps be doing anything like afterwards? Like
With
write
this?
anything or
No, that's fine. So what we're doing, I mean, this is one particular overview of working safely. I mean, you can continue on and do different modules on workplace health and safety. It's you know, I mean, it's a very interesting subject, really. So the main objective here is for you to leave with having a better understanding of workplace health and safety, to use safe work practices in the workplace, to not be afraid to ask your manager, to ask for more training, to say you'd like updated PPE. The main thing is to keep yourself safe and your workmates and your clients. Keep everyone safe in the workplace. And that's what we're all after. And to take part in your organisation's health and safety management. So, any other questions, Robin?
I mean, no, not particularly.
Well, I'd like to thank you very much for coming. And I hope you've gained something from this. But if you would like any further information as well, I can give you some links to some further videos or some audio-visual stuff that can help you. But it's been a pleasure to have you in the class, and I hope to see you again. Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure to be in the class.
Thank you. We hope to see you again.